Hello to everyone in the internet. It is currently Friday, December 14th. I am Nathan Washington, and you are watching Culture Shock, the only show on the internet that knows how to separate an issue of culture from an issue of politics. And this is the news. Alright, so the DOJ are creating their own Amber Alert knockoff. The purpose of the system is to alert citizens of which political candidate is being supported by Russia. And citizens cannot opt out of said messages. The Democratic claim of Russian involvement seems to have created a panic of sorts. Alternatively, the system could merely be a propaganda device. Maybe in the future we should consider scuttling the government and making a new one within like the next 20 years. Make them fear the people. Certain parts of the government love to skirt the Constitution. They're extremely corrupt with and are absolutely extremely corrupt with power. The Democrats particularly. The Republicans are by and large too cowardly to be corrupt at this point. They just love to skirt our Constitution. Basically, I would say that this system is most likely a propaganda device, and the people that are claiming to be colluding with Russia will probably not actually be colluding with Russia. And hell, the Russian state could probably end up suing us for defamation, which would be amazing. I would love that. That'd be great. Bottom line is, don't trust those messages when they started coming. If the vote goes through, don't pay him any attention. You can't opt out, but you can basically just ignore them. Ted Lieu says he would love to regulate speech. The full quote is, "I would love to be able to regulate the content of speech. The First Amendment prevents me from doing so, and that's simply a function of the First Amendment. But I think over the long run, it's better that government does not regulate the content of speech." End quote. Truth is, I think the only reason he has not tried is the First Amendment itself. If it were not a thing, if it didn't exist, this guy would totes go for it. Absolutely. This guy would love to regulate your speech. Because, yeah, he follows the First Amendment, but by his statement alone, he obviously does not follow the spirit of the First Amendment. He does not respect your rights. We must support free speech for everyone or no one. This guy's just another Democratic baby tyrant. Democratic baby tyrants need a spanking. And by spanking, I mean losing votes. Lots and lots of votes. I said it before, I'll say it again. Starve the beast. The corrupt, tyrannical Democratic Party of baby tyrants need to end. I call them baby tyrants because when they lose their shit, they tend to throw tantrums. And no, not like what Trump did a while back, where he threw the papers across the room. No. I mean, they literally throw tantrums. Maybe not in the way you'd see it, more like in a seething sense, like, Trump. That's just how I see them at this point. So Democratic baby tyrants. Letitia James, the most attractive sounding name typically used by black women, given to a most unattractive human being, saying that she will get every member of Trump's family imprisoned by hook or by crook. Her words, not mine. Even little Barron? Kid's only like 11. I think it'd be a little harder to get him imprisoned. This woman seems to me like yet another Democratic baby tyrant who is just butthurt that they didn't get who they wanted into office. It's hard these days to find a Democrat that isn't like completely and totally corrupt in every conceivable fashion. Their party is completely rotten and full of just as many bad eggs as I can possibly imagine. Letitia James should be the one arrested. I think she should be sued or whatever you do to her for abuse of justice. Because that's precisely what she's doing. She's abusing the justice system. Right? This is basically legal persecution. If she goes too far, I think she should be arrested and imprisoned. And no, that is not me being racist. I have nothing against black people. I do, however, have something against people abusing the justice system for the purpose of persecution. Letitia James, leave the Trumps alone. Or else you may have to end up answering to the people. Hell, I might even start a movement all myself. Speaking of movements I may have started, I will continue to say, fuck you, the National Enquirer. Pass it on. No more buying any issues of their magazine ever. None. Now, here's something that's going to scare you shitless. If you happen to be fair-skinned and European in origin. A South African leader has officially declared we must kill white women and their children. White women and children. He wants to kill children. Oh yeah, lovely guy, huh? I want to play you a video of his statements. See what you guys think of this guy. I particularly want the opinion on this guy of those who choose to believe that black people can't be racist. I want you to hear this. And I want to challenge you to tell me this is racism.
We'll kill 5 white people, we'll kill their children, we'll kill their women, we'll kill anything.
Hold on a second. Let's run it back. Turn it up a little bit for you guys to hear.
Each one of us will kill 5 white people, we'll kill their children, we'll kill their women, we'll kill anything that we find on our way. And each one of us will get on the knee. And each one of us will get up on the whites. We kill their children, we kill their women, we kill their dogs, we kill their girls, we kill anything that comes before us. They are with the poor and we are organizing 50,000 REG soldiers. And you must please sign up. Sign your name up for being an REG soldier. You must organize a youth. You know, if it takes a week, we will stay here for a week. If you are hungry, there are shops around there. We'll kill their dogs and we'll feed ourselves. What we want, how much we want. I've been made bad by the conditions that makes white people rich. We are poor because they are rich. And unfortunately for us, our politicians are defending white people. I am giving you today a shield and a sword so that we can fight and defeat the enemy that defeated our people since 1652. You must remember where they come from, so they leave our country. Me and you can enjoy the wealth that God has given us. Give me an amen there.
Amen.
Those who are ready to become soldiers in this revolution, join BLF, make it your organization.
Wow. Oh my shit. Did you guys hear that? Black people can't be racist. Because racism is prejudice plus power. It's a system of oppression. Apparently it's a system of oppression that doesn't exist in South Africa, since South Africa is mostly black. Can black people be racist? Hell yeah, they can be racist. You just heard that shit. You just heard that shit. You try and tell me. You try and show me that there's no racism against white people, and I'll show you the inside of a black hole. See what I did there? I would try to show you something that you literally could not be able to see. You cannot see the inside of a black hole, a quantum singularity. No more than you could prove that there isn't racism against white people. You just heard it. And think about how this makes a white person feel. To live in a world where there's someone out there with political influence that literally wants you dead and wants to murder your children. Right now, there's like a huge East Texas-sized pit in my stomach just thinking about it. That is a fear that I cannot properly explain or convey to you. It is not something I can really explain. But it scares the living shit out of me. And for those of you who are white that are watching, if this doesn't scare you, you better go to the doctor and get your heart checked, because you are dead. You are emotionally dead. You have no heartbeat, you have no feelings if that did not scare the crap out of you. Cardinal George Pell, aka Little Boy Raper, convicted in Australia. The highest ranking Catholic to be found guilty yet of molesting a number of boys while in the bath in the 90s. Now, I've already told you my theory on why they do this. It's because they're sexually repressed. The sexual tension just builds and builds and builds until they just take out their tension on the first thing that comes into their path. And since they're around altar boys all day, easy victim. You want to think it's something else? You want to prove me wrong? Find raw data to prove me wrong and email it to me, and I'll take a look at it. Send it to o.p.damascus@gmail.com. Send me the data. Contradict me. Show me something that proves me wrong. That my theory is wrong. Do it. Sure, I can't find any evidence to support my claim, but I'll bet you if anything, there's no evidence to contradict it, either. Italy boycotts the UN migration meeting, standing against its migration pact, which seeks to make migration a human right which ultimately violates a nation's sovereignty. BM Fan and Vin, if you guys are watching, I just proved my slippery slope. You start to declare one thing a human right, that might just open the door for something else. Sure, some people can tell the difference between what is and is not a right. It looks like some people certainly can't. Like I said, this thing is obviously an obvious attempt at globalism. And to remind you of those of which you're not familiar, globalism is a school of politics that started post-World War II. It was a sort of a knee-jerk reaction to what the Nazis did in World War II. They thought they could end world wars forever if they could just integrate people into one single global society. And the idea has grown in appeal and popularity ever since, very rapidly. If you want to know what kind of future they honestly want to build with globalism, watch Star Trek. That is pretty close to a potentially globalist future. No war, no greed, and all the little children know how to read. That was Gene Roddenberry's mantra for how to write Star Trek. It's just an unrealistic, it's a pipe dream. And it's actually going to fuck things up. Because again, look what globalism did to Germany. Enough said. Just take a look at Germany sometime. Bottom line is, Italy, thank you so much for boycotting that stupid globalist bullshit. You guys are awesome. Well done, sir. Sirs. Signores. And senoritas. Nancy Pelosi says that she will let Trump shut down the government, and she'll keep it that way. Fine by me. Our government sucks because Democrats are in it. Shut that shit down, tear it down, and then rebuild, and then build a new government. One that will maybe actually listen to the Constitution. Or hell, maybe what if all of the states, all 51 states, just secede from the Union straight up, all at once. Break apart the federal government and then rebuild a new America. Oh, that would be great. I'd love that. I mean, I still think there's some hope for our government. There's still a glint of hope. But that's only true if we get rid of the Democrats, like, completely. Kill them all. Stop voting for the Democrats. But yeah, let Nancy Pelosi keep the government shut down. I'd love that. And you're probably afraid of the anarchy and the chaos. So let me tell you something. Say murder just became legal. Are you going to kill somebody? No? Let's just say theft just became legal. Are you going to steal something? No? Why not? People have morals. Not everyone shares them, but we do have them. So there is not as much to worry about as some people would have you think. The idea of anarchy just being complete disorganized chaos and licentiousness and evil all the time is a lie and a straw man perpetuated by government so people will continue to let them have power. So, Nancy Pelosi, do your worst. Do your worst. Democrat Joaquin Arumbula, charged with willful cruelty to a child. Yep, top Democrat, major Democrat, cruel to a child, basically hitting his kids, like severely injuring them. They recently went to a hospital. So not only are they shitty politicians, they're shitty people a lot of the time. Hope they send him up the river for this one. Romanian migrant to England, Constantine Barbutu, not going to jail because he can't speak English. Like, even though he sexually assaulted 24 women. He got on his bike, put his hood up so you couldn't see his face, and then just rode up by them with like an evil grin and like slapped their bottoms, pinched them, sexually harassed them, sometimes even raped them. But because he can't speak a word of English, Mr. Barbutu is not going to prison, which he should. I don't care what language he speaks. I don't care if he speaks Japanese. I don't care if he speaks Urish. I don't care if he speaks Esperanto. Hell, I don't care if he speaks fucking moon language. Send him to prison. And now in the final story for the Culture Shock today, Johns Hopkins, the leading children's hospital, is now refusing to treat unvaccinated children. That is their right. Healthcare is a service, and they have the right to refuse service. But at the same time, that has got to be the shittiest reason of all time. Oh, what? Your child has cancer? Oh, sorry, they were never vaccinated, not treating them. See how shitty that sounds? I think a high time we make the Johns Hopkins Hospital answer to the people. And by that I mean not a full boycott, because there's probably children who they are treating. Not a full boycott. But I think we should maybe take this to the Supreme Court. Or maybe even just start lambasting the hospital or taking our business elsewhere. You know, really hurt their business. Maybe teach them that lesson. Why not go to St. Jude's instead? Oh, no, wait. No, never mind. St. Jude's, that's a research hospital. Well, there's the Seattle Children's Hospital in Seattle. We got some in the other big cities. So you got plenty of other options out there. So my point is just fuck Johns Hopkins if they're going to be that way. They want to refuse service to unvaccinated children? Fine. That's their prerogative. But that's still a shitty reason. And I think that the people should either take their business elsewhere or guilt trip Johns Hopkins. Make them feel like the pieces of the shit that they're being. Because that's a shitty thing to do. Anyway, that's it for the Culture Shock today, folks. I'm out.